What's up, guys? So today we're going to talk about how I was able to find a very expensive Xbox. You would call it an accessory, I believe. Uh, that was very expensive originally. I found it for $40. So before we get into that, just want to say, hey, if you like what you're seeing here, if this is useful for you, please subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. Tell me what you want to see me do next, what game you want to see me play, what type of product you want to see me do, what you would find useful. Please let me know down in the comments. Follow me on Twitter. Find my page on Facebook at Showtime Productions. So yeah, let's get to it. All right. So before I show you the product, I want to tell you how I got it, where it came from. So what happened is I was working at a little soda shop here in Utah. A lot of you may be familiar with it. I was working in the back, in the back of a gas station, a drive-through, and I was talking to my coworker there, and I just tell her about all the stuff that I'd find for good deals and things like that, and she'd always be like, "Man, you're able to find such good deals," and I'm like, "Yeah, well, when you look, you get lucky a lot of times and things like that." So anyway, fast forward to the end of the day, I leave the soda shop, and I'm driving home, and on my way home, I see a pawn shop, and it's right across from where I used to go to preschool, believe it or not. So I'm like, let's go there. Let's go there and see what there is. Let's see what there is to see. So I do. I go in, and I'm like, hey, do you have any video game stuff, any Xbox games or anything like that? And the lady behind the counter goes, yeah, we got a couple. And so she shows them to me. They're obviously on the other side of the counter, so I can't reach them and like grab them and go. I have to ask, say, hey, can I see that game or whatever? And in front of the games are these black cases, right there. Got the nice Xbox logo on there. And I was like, hey, what's in there? What is that? And she goes, oh, I think they're controllers, but I'm not sure. And I go, really? Okay. And there were two of them. The price tags were on the outside. I think they were on the back, actually, like right here. So I grab them, have her bring them over to me, and I look at the prices, and one of them's $100 and one of them's $50. And now a lot of you are probably like, oh, I know what it is. So without further ado, I got an Xbox One Elite controller. And for those of you who don't know what this is, it's essentially the big brother to the regular controllers that come standard with your Xbox. Your Xbox controllers are plastic. They're very flimsy. To me, after using the Elite controller, they feel much. They feel a lot crappier quality, for lack of a better way of saying it. So this one, it weighs a lot more than your traditional controller. The joysticks and the triggers are metal, which I really like. I can hit the controller, the joystick pretty hard, and not feel like, oh, I'm gonna break it. And then there's these little buttons right here, right there. These little guys go up and down, and what they do is they show, okay, so like right there, my trigger goes down all the way. Or right there, it only goes down halfway. And it still registers the same, so I can be playing Halo and running around and only pull my trigger halfway versus pulling my trigger the whole way. It saves, a really small amount of time, but for someone who plays video games a lot, they're definitely really cool. The other thing I really like is, now, none of you freak out, okay? Gonna do something to my controller. Ready? Uh-oh. I didn't break it, I promise. So you can switch out the joysticks, the lengths of your joystick on this controller as well. You have 3 different choices. So, not that one. This one here, and this one. And I'll just grab it off there. So, you have the rounded regular height, which is it's pretty standard. It feels just like a normal controller would. Then you have this one, which is the standard Xbox controller, paddle, joystick thing, whatever you want to call it. But my personal preference, at least for a lot of games, you move with the left stick, so I like the long one because I feel like I can move it further and my thumb sits more comfortably on it. So I'll put that back. And then for the looking one, the directional, I really like this rounded one. It's just more comfortable, it's smoother, and everything just works better with it. And the last thing with the Xbox Elite, there's two more things. Two more. So the first one, that is a feature on here. I'm not very good with them, but I know a lot of people really, really do like using this feature a lot. They're called scuff buttons. And some of you may know what these are, and some of you may not. So I'm going to explain it either way, because I honestly had no idea what they were until I found this controller. And they're really neat. So most people, when they play video games, they use these buttons. For example, like this is reload, and most games, this is reload, this is jump, or that's jump, or what have you. Well, the scuff buttons are buttons that sit on the bottom of your controller, like that you can program to be any of these buttons up here. Now, a lot of people are like, well, why would you want that? Well, for me, it's when I'm playing Halo Online, which I do quite a bit, and I'll probably make a video of that. You can be running, so you run this way, look that way, and then reload down here. Where a lot of times you have to run with this button and then reload right there. You won't be able to run, look, and reload all at the same time. Now, I will say that the only caveat with these, the only really bad thing, is sometimes if I get startled in a game, I'll clench. Like, I'll clench my hands because it startles me. Like, for example, I was playing Skyrim. Clench my hands because I got startled by something. And this button right here is programmed to be the X button. Any of you familiar with Skyrim know that the X button is also the button that puts away your weapons. So, got startled. My character proceeded to put his weapons away, and I was very confused as to why he was doing that. I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then I realized, I'm holding down the put weapons away button. Makes sense now. And then the last thing on this controller that I really, really like, at least as far as like physical features go, is I can take off the D-pad right here. And it comes with two different D-pads. See, now it's a traditional controller, more or less. And a lot of people, this probably doesn't make a huge difference, but I really, really, really enjoy fighting games. Tekken, Injustice, Soul Calibur, those kinds of games I really, really enjoy. And I have a really hard time using the joystick when I'm playing those games because, you do that thinking you're going to go, or you do this thinking that you're going to the right, but you're not. You're going diagonally and you're jumping in the air, and all of a sudden you're going, what in the world? So I like to have my circular D-pad down like that. And also right here you'll notice that there's a 1 and a 2 on that little slide. That is so I can have two different preset programs in here, like one for me and then one for, say, my girlfriend or my brother, whoever else is using my controller, where they can say, I want the buttons set up this way, and they can just flip that over real quick, and they're good to go. Some other little features on here. I can decide how far I want to be able to pull my trigger before it registers that I'm pulling the trigger. So I could pull it right now I have it halfway. That's where it's set because I have that toggle switched. What I can do now is I can set it to pull so only a quarter of the way, so I can hold it at a quarter of the way, and nothing happens until I just go down a little bit further to where then it registers that I'm shooting. Or not shooting, but pulling the trigger. And some other really cool functionalities is the controller rumbles, just like every controller nowadays, but the triggers rumble as well. It's a very... First time I felt that was very shocking. I was like, whoa, that's weird. Then it comes as a standard, either rechargeable battery or you can put 2 AA batteries in. You know, very, very standard for Xbox controllers. Anyway, so the two prices was one for $100 and the other one was for $50. I didn't have $50 because, you know, I'm a college student, I'm poor. And I go, hey... I asked first, what's the price difference? Why are there price differences on here? And the lady says, oh, it's probably just what we paid for. We probably paid this person more than we paid this person for them or something like that. I was like, oh, okay, you know, that makes sense. And I go, well, I really want one of these. Is there any way that you could work with me on price? And she goes, well, I could do that one for $40 for you, pointing at this one I have right here, which is the $50 one, which, if you ask me, looked better because the scuff buttons were in the case. So this is what the inside of the case looks like. Like, everything has a nice little slot. It's great. The scuff buttons were in the slots instead of behind the controller. So to me, it just looked better aesthetically. And also, the only thing that was different with this one versus the other one was there was dog hair in the case. I'm not allergic to dogs, so that didn't bother me at all. That was nothing to me. I was A-okay. So I told her, I was like, all right, I will definitely buy that for $40. Because I looked it up later. This controller right here is a $150 controller. That's a lot of money for a controller, guys. And later on, well, come to figure out, you know, even a used controller at GameStop is $55. A used standard Xbox One controller is $50. Now you can get, you know, the cheap wired or whatever, but I really like the wireless because I like being able to move around and not get tangled up in my wires. So, but with that, everyone, we are going to bring this video to a close. Be sure to leave a like, a comment. Like I said, follow me on Twitter. Go to the Facebook page at Showtime Productions, spelled just the way it is, and I will talk to you all later.